Greetings, fellow defenders of the Ark. Rhadamant here. Thank you for tuning in to Frostwardens, Episode 8, Hold the Line. And it looks like you guys want to improve living conditions. So my plan for improved living conditions is to build beds, but not out of steel, which would be better, but instead out of stone, just because steel is not a renewable resource and we can't waste it for something like a little bit of comfort. Not yet, at least. Kibanino, thank you for the resubs. And Wombat, too. And we can continually build and then destroy until Zeusin can get something of relatively high enough quality to warrant using. The number to beat really is rest effectiveness 95%, but we can aim higher if we'd like. So a good bed, for instance, has a rest effectiveness is 97. So, Noble and Fishpick, as an engagement gift, will be given the opportunity to use a double bed. Or sleep on the ground, you know. Depending. Oh, you know what? I just realized is their ideology forbids it until they're married. So Fishpick is still going to need a bedroll. That doesn't necessarily... So that's, as a result, if you're curious, and of course the ideology is always visible to you guys. So the Stalwarts believe in free love, whereas the Pilgrims believe in spouse only. And because they're not officially married yet, they don't really benefit from that. Now, Zeusin and Axios, that's a different story. They're already married. I'm going to see about switching our research project yet again, as we have enough power to continue the deep drill. Meaning that I can also build the double bed in here, which shouldn't be blocked on the regular. Army of scavengers falling on top of me. They're falling within the farm here. Now this is tricky. Ideally, Axios is not tied up in melee combat, because he's got the best gun. Of course, it's unroofed and now super cold within the farm. Nothing that could be done about that. They landed on us. Also almost broke the sun lamp. Just stay there. And all of our crops are dying due to cold. And I'm not sure I enjoy being outnumbered every time. Fishpick is down, but alive. Prerogadog lost a toe. Zeusin's in trouble because she's against someone that has a bladed weapon. She's getting cut to the neck. Okay, they are downed. Man, this is a mess. Oh, you've got silver. Axios, again, is like one of the only ones that is unharmed. But, keeping him from being wounded is kind of important. So again, bed rest maxed priority. And everyone's going to be set to go rest. In terms of bleed out timers, I think Zeusin is the worst off. And then Fishpick. Fixing the roof is not an immediate concern. Bleeding to death is going to happen before hypothermia. I'm just trying to stabilize those that are bleeding the fastest. So Zeusin's no longer bleeding, Nabla's not bleeding. Prerogadog's bleeding, but like, not super fast. Okay. And now that the worst of the bleeds is addressed, roof gets back put on. It would be great if they would stop landing on my head. I mean, I like the slag, don't get me wrong, but goodness, I could use the not enemies falling on my head. Okay, you are... okay, yep. This is not exactly fun for anyone to watch, so Axios, let's have you clean up those corpses. And I know Prerogadog still is yet to be healed. Do that real quick. Fishpick now has tattered apparel. Button-down shirt got kind of ruined as a result, so probably a tailor pinch is in short order soon. Luckily, nothing really got destroyed within that drop raid, so it could certainly have been worse. The electric stove to be hauled here, so that I can free up space for the smelter. And then likewise, I can just store the smelter here when I'm not using it. It's easy to forget, but a smelter generates heat. Oh boy. Okay. Army of scavengers. 2 from the north. Pretty well insulated, so they'll probably make it. 3 from the east, 1 not so well insulated. This one's not well insulated. This one's very well insulated. 2 from the south. Nobla's not even tended to fully. I haven't even healed, really, anyone from the last fight. So I'll do some quick 10s, if I can. The whole farm is not sown at the moment. So one way to conserve power is to flick everything off until we have time to sow things. And that should allow the batteries to fill back up pretty quick. And then this room is, I wouldn't say it's warm, but it's warmer, which counts for a lot. Zeusin, have a quick meal on your feet. So yeah, some of those... Oh, wow, that is almost my name. Oh, okay. So the Godless and the Army of Scavengers are both here. The thing is, they are not friends with one another. So this actually might be a bit to my own benefit. So what I'm going to do is try to benefit from this by turtling. And forcing the two groups to fight one another. Closing this door means that they won't have a valid access to the base. And I still want to be prepared and ready to fight. But more than likely, a lot of the Army of Scavengers will then reroute and fight the Godless. Or stand around, apparently. So, in terms of the Godless, looks like they're all melee. Interestingly, some of them are well-insulated, some are not. They look pretty poor. There's a lot of them. You know, there's 10. And we're going to try to do the bare minimum to keep the enemies at bay here. Does doors need a wall built behind? No. So the way it works is, if you are familiar with RTS games, raiders are given like an attack move order towards colonist beds. And they will continue that attack move order until they do a little bit of damage to your walls and then sort of recalculate their orders. So in this case, what is likely to end up happening is that Penny and Bonnie here will walk up, punch the doors a few times, and then head towards the Godless. As you can see, Desi has already sort of decided to reroute and fight the Godless. So, as has Barbara. So there will be like attack order recalculations periodically made, which I can use to my advantage to drive enemies to fight enemies. And I'm just sitting in here with, because they have no line of sight on me, and it's a relatively warm room, where, as I mentioned, oh, I don't really want them attacking a switch, though. I'll have to fix this hallway and make it a full wall, so they don't, in the future, break switches, because I don't really need shooting portholes there. And then here are some of the army of scavengers that that pathed and perished. So if I'm building a... let's not build that quite yet. If I'm building a switch here, yeah, we'll just wall this section off and then double insulate it as much as we can. Is this Barbara? Yeah, so this is Barbara, and I don't know where the other one went, but as you can see, they sort of like pathed away, or Penny, I guess, just died from hypothermia. But they pathed away and then they just died. So the only issue that I have right now is because I don't have a valid path into the base, once the Godless is done killing Barbara, they are going to destroy walls to try to get to me. So then I have to open up the door again so they have a valid path to me. My guess is a lot of them perish due to wounds and hypothermia, and flee subsequently, but I guess we'll see. Choosing to warm up the inside of the base. And I'll give Progadog some time off to recuperate. I also decided to fire up some of the corpses so that I had a little bit extra heat. Within the base. So that despite our injuries, we aren't also succumbing to hypothermia. Winter has ended. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so that will be the last corpse fire for a bit. And the Godless are fleeing. Most of them succumbing to environmental rather than direct attacks. Also, I have a typo. Improve iving conditions. There we go. Drop the L. Alright, Axios, could you start to resow? There we go. And then once everything's resown, I'll turn on the lights. Oh, apparently... As long as we are net positive with full batteries, I don't really care about turning them off again. So one of the things about living conditions is living conditions also means good clothing. So I'm going to have to spare some of the materials that we have in order to make a hand tailor bench. to try to replace some of Fishpick's clothing. And because our cotton died off, I am going to choose to break down some of the other sleeping bags for clothing material instead. As far as I can tell, yeah, everybody is patched up and just recuperating. Cheers. Oh, it is improval. I didn't forget the L, I just... Spacebar. In fact, my current keyboard has like a problem where the switch for the spacebar doesn't always work. So that's probably what happened there. I've been meaning to replace my keyboard or try to fix the switch. Alright. Pulling the mandated bed rest from everyone's jobs. And we'll try to refit our defenses a little bit so that they're better insulated and won't fall victim to destruction. That's annoying, the spacebar thing? Yeah, I go through a lot of keyboards, and I'm very annoyed by it. I cannot seem to get a keyboard that doesn't fall victim to some issue. It happens often. Okay. Bed quality is improved. Of course, we need Prerogadog is due a bed as well. So instead of a double bed, I'll just do a single bed for space constraints for now. In fact, I might make another single bed just for Fishpick so that it can get rid of some of the cloth that we've got, as we can phase out cloth as a material. And then we're going to want a button-down shirt made by Zeusin. Tailor that up so that Fishpick can get rid of his tattered apparel. Okay, everything is sewn, so the sun lamps could go back on. We are quite low on food. That hasn't been lost to me. We do have packaged survival meals as a result of not eating them or keeping them. But the destruction here and then the having everyone be incapacitated to some degree or another has made it pretty difficult to keep up with demand. Toxie, thank you for the bits. And Matt for the resub. And Numpty for the resub as well. Welcome, welcome. And cheers. Alright, Fishpick actually has a nice bed. And just like everything else, we'll put the Tailor bench here when it is uninstalled. And I'm doing the uninstallations for space reasons, pretty obviously. Because we don't have a lot of space in here, and I gotta use what space we have wisely. So we're getting the repairs done to our grow room. In the far future, once we have a lot more power and space and all that, it will be great to to be able to not live near the farms so that drop pot raids don't target the farms. So still a lot of broken basins, but even a damaged basin will work. And I am hoping we grow food quick. So basic living conditions have improved, and I'm going to have you guys vote on the next priority. So I can improve living conditions even further. And with that, I mean to pave up a lot of the paths that we use commonly so that movement speed is increased and therefore the chance for hypothermia is decreased. We can also build additional defenses or start working on our faction meeting halls. One of the advantages of the faction meeting hall is if we get a Pilgrim Union hall, we'll be able to assign a foreman, and that will remove some of the mood penalties for our 3 pilgrims. But it's up to you. You guys vote. Also going to update the home zone. It's obviously kind of wrong. Hasn't been updated in a while. And I'd go so far as to say we don't really need to clean up the bloody snow beyond our walls. Now that it's warming up, I can expand the close zone. And then I might assign, because there's no corpses at the moment, Axios to the close zone as well. Down to just a few meals. I also know that if we are having some mood problems, I can always lean on some of the drugs that we have too. So Progadog, being the moodiest of us, was just given the opportunity to consume. Oh, dog treats. There we go. Is this really the first dog treats redeemed? I didn't have the bowl full. Must have been. So it seems to me like faction halls seems to be the popular option. So let's get that going. So, as far as faction halls go, I think it's reasonable to say that they should be of equal size. At least for now. And that is not a terrible spot for them. So they'll have, they won't have double insulation on this end, but they will be doubly insulated around them. Most of the time, the faction halls won't actually need a source of heat, only when things are convening in them. And then we have the Union Hall. And the Council Hall. with lecterns. And we'll get that going first. And then, of course, with slate floors and slate flagstone. And I'm going to do a little bit of floor pathing here, just so that we can move about our immediate vicinity without being so encumbered by the ice. Because running around on ice sucks. Not the first dog treats? I think I missed the other ones then. Yeah, I'll make sure the altars are facing the correct direction. Of course, altars can, or lecterns rather, can be moved. No, they're set up right. Do the portraits change on mood? No, they can change based upon selections here. So you can pick what personality trait affects the mood. Alright, I think it is time for our third voting proposal. The third voting proposal. Stalwarts think that all future refugees are to be accepted regardless of skills or backgrounds, as long as refugees are being accepted at all. Pilgrims believe that all future refugees are to be judged before being allowed to join. Stalwarts may compromise, saying that all future refugees are to be judged on their merits, but only by other stalwarts, meaning that pilgrims would not be able to vote. And then the pilgrims compromise that all future refugees be accepted or rejected on the basis of their background rather than measuring their skills. You could also abstain from voting or defer to me. And there's a timer up there. You've got about 30 seconds left to vote. And it goes without saying that, as you can see how to participate, live viewers are of course invited to choose a faction that they represent rather than to vote with the populace or whatever. So if you have self-assigned stewards, you would only vote for steward or steward, or sorry, if you were self-assigned to stalwart, you would only vote for stalwart or stalwart compromise, rather than picking the best option. You aren't to vote against your own best interest, so a stalwart will never vote for a pilgrim, and a pilgrim will never vote for a stalwart. They can only vote for their own choices or a compromise or abstain. It's entirely reasonable to abstain in cases where you do not like the benefits from your own faction, but you would never vote in line with the opposite party. I think I made that pretty clear last stream, but just seeing how this poll goes, it doesn't make sense to me that, you know, the majority of you self-assigned pilgrim, given that there is about almost 60% of you voting for pilgrim or pilgrim compromises. Regardless, the measure for pilgrims has passed, that all future joiners will be measured from their potential merits, and therefore it is not an open policy which would be far more charitable. But just a reminder of how that works. That if you think of yourself as a stalwart, or think of yourself as a pilgrim, you're only to vote for stalwart or stalwart compromisers, or pilgrim and pilgrim compromises. Wherever the equivalent might be. There wasn't available bots to be able to do like actual team assignments. I looked for them. Unfortunately, none really existed outside of like having people to join Discord or things like that, which was, in my mind, kind of a bad compromise. So as a result, I have to trust you guys for the self-assignments, but you're really, truly encouraged to pick self-assignments and stick with them. Can you make a quick poll about the amount on each side? Well, the amount on each side will vary depending on who shows up to the live stream, etc. So, no, I'm not going to bother doing that. If it also assumes that people actually vote correctly, right? I'm not checking and measuring that people are voting within their own party. It wouldn't be a reasonable thing for me to do live. But you can certainly rep with the follower emotes if you'd like. That's a pretty reasonable way to show party allegiances. Alright, we are about to have a harvest. So I know everyone's going hungry, but I was going to wait for the harvest so that we could actually use the rice that we have here. And now that we're heading into spring, or like in the middle of the spring, it is getting a little bit more reasonable temperature out, which is fantastic. Which faction is leading, winning the polls? It's been fairly split. I would say slightly as a result of the last poll, Pilgrims are leading. But that isn't to say by much. If you want to vote for Party Alliance, sure, I could put that up. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a prediction. As I think that might be a more effective tool to measure. Or I'll do a in-game poll. Or a Twitch. Well, no, I'll do an overlay poll. It's probably easier. There you go. So the faction halls are making some progress. And I have been keeping Nabla on research for deep drills. I guess the very angry storyteller has decided that constantly trying to murder me via raids could let up a bit. Oh, yes, we need to turn that off. Thank you for tuning in to RimWorld Frostwardens, which originally streamed live on Twitch January 26th. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you would like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhadamant.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you would like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rhadamant.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for tuning in. Special thank you to my Twitch subscribers, Patreon patrons, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, my fellow survivors on the ice floe.